Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Coachman Acadia 630. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. So starting off first, you have your black hitch head here with silver lever that you have to have pulled up like so. So then you can wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar, causing that to snap down, pushing up that red button and exposing a green ring. You have your breakaway cable just here. Now legality states if you have an eye point it has to be used, if not wrap it around the tow bar. The caravan is with 13-pin electric, so if you do have 7-pin adaptation, make sure you bring yourself an adapter. However, you may lose a couple of features such as an Alco ATC. You then have your handbrake here, disengage, press down and engage, flick up. As you can see, they do come up with a fair bit of force, so make sure your head isn't in the way. The caravan is fitted with auto leveling legs, so that will be displayed on collection. We're using our test equipment today, so I have a red propane gas bottle. I'd always recommend propane over butane as it has a better performance in winter. Connected onto here we have a black gas hose. Now these will run for 5 years, and as you can see this one's production date 25. That connects onto this regulator just here. Hand tighten that as much as you physically can and then just nip it up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight as it will put excessive pressure onto the O-ring inside the hose, causing it to crack and leading gas to leak out. Once both sides are firmly connected, twist the gas bottle in the positive or open direction. On the opposing side, starting off first, we have your flue. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. I then have an Acroll full of clean drinking water and your water pump. Now this pump, all you have to do is press in and then press down on the cap. You have this white cap to go over the top of the Acroll to ensure no nastiness gets in. And then at the bottom we have your strainer. Now it's crucial that the strainer sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential water to come through, and means that you're not going to get any airlocks. But as you can see, all you have to do, press down the cap to lock it into place. You then have your battery locker just here. This example does have a battery fitted and it connects onto the top using the terminals. It's 12 or 13mm spanner or the battery spanner that comes with the caravan. You also have your plug-in for your mains just here and a little cutout to be able to feed it through. You also have the ignition point for the motor mover just behind there as well. Motor mover will be gone over on collection. Just here we have 2 points where your wastewater is going to come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to then feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point on site. And lastly, we have your toilet functions. Just here we have your cassette. To remove this, press up on the orange handle and pull out towards you. Now this handle does extend out and up and can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. What you want to do when you're at the appropriate point on site is twist this head to the side, open up this cap, it's been a little bit awkward, there we go, tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually pressing your vent button. My recommendation is once you've done that, open up this cap, feed in some fresh water, give it a bit of a shake, and shut this back up, and again, tilt and vent. Then on this cap here, you have measurements in both imperial and metric, and that's for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, twist the head back to the side, and push the cassette in, so the orange handle sits behind those white teeth, as then it can't be removed. Then above we have your flush tank. This has a capacity of around 12 litres, however I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10 as you don't want to overfill the compartment. You can also add some pink chemical which works as a bleach without being corrosive, however please don't put actual bleach down the toilet. Now you don't want to travel with either of these two full. Just up here, got a little bung to drain off any remaining water from the caravan. The caravan will be fully drained off when you collect it. Then just here we have your main control panel. So you have your main on and off button just here. You have interior lights on this button here, and then you can just use your individual switches. You have awning lights, so press that in can then go to the outside and you can see that is on just there. You then have your pump button. So pump is on. You'd come over to your taps and pull open the taps and let them run for about 30 seconds. What I would recommend doing first is allowing about 2 minutes for the water to come through. What will happen when you first press that pump button, it will show a little green indication on here to show that the water is being pulled through and pressurized. This button here is a blank button because they use the same interface on motorhomes. You then have your battery button just here, which you press in and it shows the amount of charge. Now, as I'm plugged into mains, that is going to represent the amount coming from the mains only. When I'm plugged in to the actual caravan without mains, that will show the battery amount. Now, you may have just quickly seen there, little green bar was coming up to show that the system has now pressurized. Then, when you want the caravan completely off, turn off the lights and awning light first, and then turn off the caravan itself. As you can see, I'm getting a nice steady continuous stream. This is what you're after, so you want to open this up for around about 30 seconds and let it just come through. If there's any coughs and splutters, go to the outside and check that the pump is at the bottom of the barrel, that you have plenty of water in your rack roll, and that none of your switches are down. So you can check it on both hot and cold. You're just looking for that nice steady continuous stream. If it's a case you're going to be using the other taps and the shower, I'd recommend putting through on them as well. Here we have your ADA control panel. Now this is for your heating and your hot water, and this specific one is a compact 330 boiler. This is your main control panel, so you turn on using this button here, and then you have this as your first select. So it shows you that mains are plugged in. Current internal temperature is 21.5 degrees and the desired temperature is 29.5. Now you can use these buttons on the side either by pressing and holding or individually tapping to go down to the minimum, which is 5, or the maximum, which is 30. Dependent on the weather, if it's a really nice day, it will take about an hour to get to temperature. You press menu and you come to this screen. So you have energy just here, so press it on energy, and this is what you're using as a source. So you can either use 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts of electric, or you can use gas, or a mixture of gas and 1, 2 and 3. Now do be aware that some sites do not have 3 kilowatt capacity, and especially if the sites are absolutely packed. You then also have these additional settings for it, which is the priority for it, a load monitor, and a high altitude setting if you're above 1,000 meters. You then have hot water just here, so it's either off, it's on, which will get the water temperature to around about 40 or 50 degrees, or it's on boost. Now what boost does, it sets a 30-minute timer to allow for the hot water to get to temperature. After those 30 minutes, it will then drop it back down to on. So it's ideal if you're wanting to use the shower in the morning. You can then press menu again, and you can come to some additional settings. You can scroll through these as well. I'm not going to run through the additional settings, but if you'd like to have a look inside your book pack to see what they represent, then please do so. We have set this in a way where it's the most user friendly. Now naturally the screen will fade off when not interacted with in a while. However, if you want this completely off, press in, turns itself off. Underneath your right hand side seat you have all of this here, so I wouldn't recommend storing anything under this certain compartment. Just here we have your boiler, which you can pull back this panel if you ever need to do a reset. And you also have these 2 yellow drain valves. Now both of them have to be up for it to be in drain mode, and both of them have to be down for them to allow the flow of water to come through. When you collect the caravan, these will be in the upright drain position. November to March have that up permanently as well, unless you're actively using the caravan, and anytime you come off site, give it a drain off as well. You have these 2 black boxes, which are your e-move control boxes, and if again you need to do a reset, you can pull back those panels. You have this here. Now that is your emergency stop button for your EMP automatic legs. This will be specific to this van for the placement for it, but if you're having any issues, for example, the battery dies midway through, you can then press in that button. You have your solar panel regulator just here, and then all of your trips and fuses. All your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position there as well. Here we have your fridge function. So opening it up here, you have your on button here, which you have to press in and hold, and then it will go to its most recent memory. Now these will only flash up momentarily and then they will fade off. When the fridge is on, you can see there's lights on inside. You have this button here, which you can press in as a reminder for what's on. But if you press and hold it in, you can then choose your source. So I'm currently on mains. You then have your battery symbol, which is representative of 13-pin electric only. Gas. Now for gas, I'd recommend going through all your hob, grill and oven first, or auto. Now to select, I press in on the button, and then you have the amount of power. So 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. 5 being the most powerful, so it's going to chill it the quickest. You can see auto has selected mains. Now, even on full capacity, this will take around 4 hours to fully chill. Now let's just quickly swap this over to gas. Now for gas, you don't have to do anything. It will tick in a little bit. Then once it's finished ticking, that means it's all nice and lit. But if I just quickly go to the battery, so I could show you what it's like with a hazard, it will begin to flash up. So just quickly change it over to something else more appropriate, and then you can just use the fridge. Now the only light that will stay on will be that blue light on the side. However, when you don't want this on, press and hold in here, no more light, turns off the fridge. Here we have your hob, grill and oven. So all of this operates on gas minus the electric plate. For the electric plate, spin to whatever mark and it will get to temperature. Everything else, press it on the dial, twist it to the side and press in your igniter. Now it may be a case that these will light up then cut out, or they may just take a while to light when you're going first time round. That is natural, that is the gas making its way through its system. This is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all burners nice and lit. Turn it off, back to the central position. Same concept for your grill. As you can see, grill all nice and lit. Then finally your oven. Now make sure as well that these trays are not intruding on the igniter. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. And there you go. Oven all nice and lit. Only other real thing to note is that if you're traveling with gas bottles, make sure the bottles themselves are turned off. And you need to travel with this glass sheet down, same on this one as well. But don't put this down until all of the burners are nice and cold to the touch. Just here we have your toilet function, so lift up the lid, press in the button, and you can hear that motor. That motor is what will push through any water inside the system. You then have your release on the bottom to be able to open and close the cassette. Once the cassette is full, there'll be a red light on there telling you to empty. Then just by your door, you have your control panel for your EMP legs. You can release it from the top, just there. You have a power on and off button on the back, and then you have your interface just here. So you can either select manual to manually put down the legs. Now this will only work for putting it down, or what the majority of people will do is automatic. Now the legs at the moment are currently down. There's 2 legs at the front, 2 legs at the back and 2 stabilizers. So all I've got to do is press up, and what you'll see is those individual yellow parts come up. That is representing that the legs are coming up. So it takes a little bit of time, and if you ever want to stop for whatever reason, you just got to press that button. So all you've got to do is just wait. Now just make sure not plugged into mains, don't have any other form of isolation on, and you've just got to wait a little bit of time. It takes around about a minute to 30 seconds. Okay, so as you can see, all of your legs are now up, ready to travel. When you are putting the legs down, you'll want it so your nose is facing down. So, as you can see, it's on a little bit of a slant. So what we are now going to do is put your legs down. So now we're just pressing auto down, and what comes up is this little graph to show that blue icon needs to be in the center and completely level. Again, this can take a little bit of time, but it's easier than going around all your corners. So all you've got to do is sit and wait pretty much. And there we go, that's all done. Turn off the remote on the back and then put it nice and gently back into its docking station.